Classes will be canceled for the rest of the week in Evergreen after a shooting left 2 students with critical injuries. The gunman, a 16-year-old, took his own life.
And today we are joined this afternoon by Tom Mauser, whose son was killed in the Columbine shooting. Tom, we spoke a little bit last night. How did you initially react? I know there's been too many school shootings to count since you lost Daniel, but last night, how did you initially react to the news?
I hate to say it, but frankly, I was not as bothered by it, as shocked, as I would have been in past years because it has become so common. My thoughts went immediately to those reunifications. That's the part that really hits me.
Yeah, and take us through that, because even yesterday, it just seemed like it was taking so long. We were watching these parents for hours stand in line. Some had talked to their kids, some hadn't. Can you take us to those moments?
Well, I think first it's important to note that at the time of Columbine, not as many people had cell phones, and the lines were all tied up. I could not reach my wife. She couldn't reach me on landline. So it was a bit different then. I think at least with being able to know that your child was safe, but if you couldn't reach them, like the ones who didn't go to the reunification but went to somebody's house, were they able to find out? There's that anxiety, there's that fear. Is my child okay?
And talk to us about the long-term impact, right? Because Columbine, 1999, right? And still to this day, you wear your son Daniel's shoes, specifically during interviews as you try to advocate for better gun legislation, gun reform, et cetera. How is your mental, and I'm sure that you've had a club that no parent wants to be a part of, where you've talked to other parents. How does that impact you this many years later?
Well, it clearly still impacts me. I mean, when I speak publicly, I still have trouble speaking about it. But that's the nature of it. I would like to address what the impact is on so many people. And this is what Evergreen needs to be prepared for, is that we have people, graduates of Columbine who still have trouble today. That PTSD, strikes at different times. Some people don't have it, some people do. I think what's really important for the people in Evergreen to realize is to avoid that temptation that happens in some communities where they have that campaign of, we're strong and let's move on. No, you can't move on from something like this quickly. You really have to be prepared for it. You need to get counseling. You need to realize that you're grieving, that you realize that many people will be in trauma, not just the students who were close by, but all of the students, the staff. And there will not be enough mental health professional help for everybody. And I think for that reason, the community needs to work together and talk to each other about what happened. Celebrate the good things, like the way the school successfully locked down. That was great. Great lessons learned from past shootings. They'll need to talk about, were there some students who knew that this was a troubled student? We need to talk about that. People need to be open, and I think by talking about it, I think that's part of the healing process, to really get it out there. Talk about your fears, talk about the trauma.
And you say talk about the fears. I want to ask you, and maybe selfishly, so forgive me, but you're living, I think, every parent's worst nightmare. It's hard not to live in fear. Can you talk to the parents, all of us who, this is scary, like any advice, anything, so that we're not living every day in fear when we're sending our kids to school every day?
Schools are still one of the safest places for kids to be, but it is so tragic that it's still happening. And it's tragic that kids have to go through active shooter drills, but you have to do that, and you can see here that it paid off. We just have to continue doing more. I think we really have to also get to the heart of, why is this happening? Why is this happening? Well, first of all, people will often say to me, can you believe, isn't it tragic this is happening in our schools? And I say, it's tragic, but it is predictable. It's a reflection of society. It's happening in our shopping malls, it's happening in our hospitals, any number of places. Why should it be as much of a shock that it's in our schools? It shouldn't happen, but it does.
Yeah. And you work really hard with an incredible organization, Ceasefire, correct?
Right.
And I love the work that you all do. Talk to us about some of the things that you guys are doing to try to curb this. I mean, can we even end gun violence? Is that even an option today?
It's pretty difficult when you have more firearms in this country than you have people. At Colorado Ceasefire, we advocate for stronger gun laws, and we've been very successful in getting quite a few gun laws passed. But we also have Colorado Ceasefire Outreach. That's really the kind of educational side, the outreach side, where you go. We speak at schools. We speak to public groups about ways that you can de-escalate, make them aware of the gun laws that we have. So we have passed. We were very successful in lobbying for that safe storage law.
Yep.
Raising the age for purchase of long guns, the red flag law. Those are all really helpful, but it's really important also for people to follow those laws and to look at the guidance that comes with those laws, like especially with safe storage. Where do these guns come from?
And then safe to tell, right? Someone, it feels like almost all the time, someone knows something. This doesn't come out of nowhere.
That's right. And nearly all of these cases, that shooter told somebody or hinted to somebody. And kids have got to talk about that.
Before we let you go, I know Daniel's so proud looking at you now, 26 years later, right? Still speaking on his behalf, being an advocate. Can you just talk about him a little bit to us, to honor his memory and legacy?
Sure. Daniel was a very shy kid, very intelligent, and like play video games. He was just like any other kid, but extremely shy. And he was not at all athletic, and yet he chose to join the cross-country team at Columbine. Didn't make the squad, but he practiced with them and supported them. He was not at all, he was very, very shy, very introverted. And yet he chose to join the debate team at Columbine, where he had to get up in front of people.
Wow.
And that really was the inspiration for me to do the work that I do as an advocate, because I'm also very introverted, and yet I realized I couldn't do that anymore. I had to change. I had to get out there and get the message out. We have to do something about gun violence. Doing nothing isn't going to solve the problem.
That's right.
And you are, every single day.
Tom, thank you. Thank you for being so brave and talking for us today. I know it cannot be easy.
Yeah.
We appreciate you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Tom.